accidentally drops a water bottle only to find the water on the into the ground. He then immediately poured some more. The water disappeared. Out of the way. After a quick check, the officer opened the door and say one of their tennis was discovered by the Germans. The man was devastated and we heard the news. Having escaped from prison 80 times, he was always so unlucky desperate. He crossed the deadline without hesitation as soon as possible to see us all the guard papers for each of them just to be on the safe side before going out. Honey had everyone originally brush up on their genome language to be able to deal with the questions, and then close for each of them once everything is ready. Man dug a tunnel to escape, but found there was a problem with the measurements. The hole was not dug into the woods. Instead, it was at the entrance to the prisoner of war camp. To escape, he had to run to the woods under the eyes of the guards. Tony rushes back into the tunnel. Tell your teammates what's happening. But the arrow was in the air, so Tony decided to try his luck. He plans to use the guards turned to run into the woods when he succeeds and then send a signal to them remotely. Then Tony seized the opportunity. While the guards were talking, he ran into the wood at light speed and then yanked the rope to send a signal to the men below. With the guards' attention focused on the camp, they were able to move very smoothly. Many of the men managed to get into the woods. It was at this point the camp was suddenly bombarded. The whole camp turned off all the lights. What a great opportunity. The soldiers seized the opportunity. They ran as fast as they could into the woods. But soon the lights of the camp came back on. A frightened old man made a noise, attracting the attention of the guards. Fortunately, the guards only shone their torches into the woods. He didn't find the prisoner on the ground. However, as his teammates below were late in receiving the signal, he couldn't wait any longer and went straight out of the hole. He was spotted by the guards. The scene is in chaos. Before the massive prisoners had a chance to escape, the operation ended in failure. The next day, the Germans did a head count and found that the original plan was to escape with 250 men. A total of 76 men had escaped that night. In order to return home as quickly as possible, they had scattered and fled. They each chose their preferred method. But it was not an escape that awaited them. Most of them were exposed because they didn't know German. Except for 3 who managed to escape. 50 of them were secretly sent by the Gestapo to the northwest to die. The rest were sent back to the POW camps. Again, a massive escape plan. And so it ended. It's a sad story, but the story is based on true events. It's the truth. And that is the essence of the film. And that's the end of the film. War is cruel after all. Goodbye pulls a concrete block from his pocket. Next, he removes the flap from the drain. The cement block is placed in the recess in the mouth. The 4 sides do not differ by more than 0.01 centimeter. The man then removes the cement block. He jumps down and tries to trim the edges further. It was at this point the sentry suddenly noticed several guards were heading this way. A signal is hastily sent to his teammates. The team taps. The men in the sewers immediately burst out, throwing all the tools into the pit covering the concrete slab quickly fill the gaps with slags. Just as the guards enter the door, the man has already filled the gap. The men next to him rush to cover the slab, pouring a bucket of water. Everyone starts pretending to work. By the time the guard arrives, he didn't notice anything unusual. But the question soon arose what to do with all the earth. They dug in the tunnels. And it came in 2 colors. It would stand out everywhere. When the men were in a quandary, a young man came up with a plan. He hung 2 sacks around his waist. Then he slid the pouches into his trousers. Then, with a gentle tug on the fuse, the dirt would then flow down the trousers and out. With this method, the next day, they put their hands in the bag, pulling east and west. They also took the opportunity. During the training session, those at the front pulled and those at the back buried. As they dug deeper and deeper into the tunnel, a new problem arose. Again, because of uneven stresses, the tunnel always collapsed. This required more planks to support them. So they had to remove the planks from the cells. All of them were used to keep the tunnel stable. After a lot of hard work, the tunnel was finally dug through. After taking measurements, the hole was found to be in the woods just outside the concentration camp. To celebrate the completion of the project and the imminent escape, Kung got 2 cards of potatoes from somewhere. 2 of them poured all over the kitchen. They made 2 large vats of ground nut roast by distillation. Under the guise of a big national day, they went around the streets to celebrate. But what they didn't expect was the Germans had discovered their tunnel by accident.